So one of the things that I always ask all of the kind of different guests and stuff is, as you've kind of gone through your career and kind of gone through to where you are, can I ask
Mhm.
what's like the best piece of advice you ever had?
So is this really related to career or just in
Anything, it
general?
doesn't matter, anything in general.
So I quite often find this kind of question quite difficult if I'm honest. But um, I was having a bit of a reflection about any kind of poignant moments that have stood out to me, and one really was when I came back from traveling, and I'd had such a great time, and I was now faced with living back in the UK, back at the parents' home, where you think, oh, I've gone back in time, and it was just kind of finding my feet, thinking, what am I doing? And the home life at the time was also a little bit of a struggle. But a good friend to me at the time, um, like read out a quote, and I'm not really into like quite a lot of, sort of cheesy quotes, but this one did stand out to me, and it was something along the lines of like, there's no point worrying about things you can't control.
Yeah.
Focus instead on the things that you can control and actually change, and develop the wisdom to kind of differentiate the two situations as well. And I think, now that Facebook exists, you see all of these kind of inspirational quotes and memes all the time. But this was kind of pre-Facebook, and that really kind of set me off on a bit of a track to kind of not sweat the small stuff and
Yeah.
just not spend too much time worrying. And it's something that I'm still working on now, and kind of, but feel like I have achieved a sense of like calmness of like, okay, it is what it is, and don't fight something that you can't change, like
Yeah.
COVID. I can't change COVID or get rid of it, so to a certain extent you just kind of got to roll with the situation, and be pragmatic, be nimble, adapt, but ultimately there is no point getting really worried about it.
Honestly, I think that's good for both life and business. And I guess one of my questions would almost be, do you think that's an age stroke wisdom type thing? Because I think this as well is that almost with, so I'm a completely different person to who I was 10 years ago or when I was at uni.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I was, sometimes you look back and you think, oh, why did I do that or whatever. But again, it was just, most of it was just naivety or whatever. That I never did anything bad with intent to do anything bad, but it was almost where, I think sometimes you kind of, I've definitely found that as I've got a bit older, you see more of the grey in things. So it's not just black and white. There's a whole nuance to different things. And then again, it's no, I think that's a really good one. And then kind of
Mm-hmm.
related to this, that if you were to give advice to your kind of younger self, what would it be? And this can be any age, anything you want.
Yeah, it's interesting what you were just saying actually about kind of, you've changed over the years, and it's easy in hindsight to kind of say like, oh well, I would have said to my younger self like, don't worry so much about having to have a set career plan, or having to be like mega successful straight out of uni, or don't worry about what people think about you. Yeah, like those kind of things, you think, ah, well, if I could just go back and tell my younger self these things, great. But isn't it also about figuring these things out for yourself?
Mm,
And you don't necessarily want to just go back and give yourself some advice that might detract from that journey.
yeah, because it's when almost some of the, I think part of the reason why I'm a different person now to who I was when I was 24 is almost because of the bad things that happened and the pain and stuff that you go
Mm-hmm.
through, that you learn from it and you adapt and you change. And almost, so I'm doing something now that, I might still fail at it, but I'm enjoying the ability to try, if that makes sense, as where,
Yeah.
it's, I wouldn't have always had the bravery to do it, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
actually one of the big things that almost got me was almost, I knew when I was trying to decide whether to take another job or not, or try and do something on my own, was actually
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to try and fail, but give it everything I've got, even doing really bad live streams, to, than kind of half-arse it or worry too much about what other people are going to think and whatever, and then end
Mm-hmm.
up regretting it and being like, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I work hard? And I think it's but I think that comes with time and age and different things.
Definitely, yeah. I think you've got to just you, your wisdom grows a little bit as you get older, and I think a bit more of like inner confidence as well.
No, of course.
Just
Okay.
crack on, try stuff, and you don't worry so much about what other people think.
Yeah, I agree.